The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Freedom Chat, where real Americans speak their minds. And no topic is off limits. No scripts, no judgment, just honest conversation. Raw, unfiltered, and free. If you're ready to challenge the narrative and celebrate true freedom, you're in the right place. This is Freedom Chat.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good
To quote Matthew McConaughey, all right, all right, all right. It's one of my favorite things to say. I got a couple of things to give as far as news is concerned. One is very personal. Most of the people that follow me around know I try to keep my health very private. I, in November, was at a 11.7 A1C and was fighting type 2 diabetes. I am very pleased to announce I am at 6.7 on my A1C. I'm still a little high, but my doctor is stoked because I am definitely on the right track. That's the first piece of news.
That's good.
Second piece of news, the United States beat Canada to win the gold medal. Congratulations to those cats. And I don't know how many other people know, but a person tried to break in at Mar-a-Lago and was subsequently shot. I won't say unalive because I'm a real person that deals with reality and people get shot. There's no censorship in this show. So we have a guest, Candace. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
My mom is over there on the right front, and we'll ask you a little about yourself.
Hey. So I am a legal immigrant to the U.S. from Canada.
Outstanding. Right. I'm sorry that you guys aren't carrying the gold, but I'm not.
Oh, honey, I'm an Albertan. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm Albertan. I'm not Canadian anymore.
Oh,
Canada is not
Canada.
Yeah, it's not that anymore. It is an immigration cesspool and a woke cesspool, and I'm over it. So.
All right. Well, we're expecting one more person on, and we're hoping that the technical difficulties that she's having can get corrected. If not, we'll just wing it. My mom is in the upper my upper right hand corner. I don't know what corner it is for you. Mom, go ahead and a quick introduction of yourself so people kind of know who you are.
Born and raised in Colorado.
There's Nellie.
The mountains. The bandage on my face is due to skin cancer.
I'm sorry.
Not a big surprise with people who live in high country because we don't have a lot of atmosphere between us and the sun.
Hey, Nellie, can you set your camera to landscape for us so that we all look the same? And now you're sideways. God, I love this
landscape. I have no idea how to do that.
Just turn your phone sideways.
Yeah, turn the phone sideways, and it should automatically flip for you. Give it a second and see if it flips. Yeah, you might have it locked. You might want to turn off the auto rotate from off to on. There's a feature called auto rotate on your phone. Trust me.
That might be, but everybody else does it for me.
He talked me into putting it on the computer, so I'm on the laptop.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to join on with a laptop if you want to.
I was on the laptop last time. That's what I was trying to enter. I didn't go through here last time.
That's weird. All right, well, we'll figure that out. Hey, look, this is technology.
Nellie, it's in your settings. If you go to your settings, like at
phone
the top
setting.
of your phone.
Yep.
No, but I mean, how do I get to it from my computer?
To the link,
Yeah.
because the computer will automatically go to landscape.
Go to Facebook. Have Mark send you the link.
Yeah, Dennis did send the link.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
but
Let's see
I'm
what
getting.
happens.
I've got this. Okay, let me ask you something. There's StreamYard.com and then there's /FAGBP.
Yeah, that's us.
Okay, that's where I went. Okay.
That's weird. All right, we'll figure it
It's
out.
all right. It's all right.
The nice thing about life is it's not ever pretty. just look at me.
Let me take a look, see if.
All right. So one of the things that I like to talk about are issues locally as well as issues nationally. And what I try to do is put it all together in a manner that we can connect local with the country, right? With the nation. And for those of you who don't know, one of the things I like to do on President's Day is read the final address of President George Washington. It takes about an hour to get through. It's a 44-page address. Washington himself never spoke it. It was meant to be published and read by the American people. It was co-authored by Alexander Hamilton and I believe Thomas Jefferson. So it had three of the greatest liberty-based minds in our nation's history. One of the things that he brings up in his address is the dangers of party politics. We are in the state of Colorado, and I know, Candace, you're in Houston, and that Nellie, you're in Houston, right?
Yep.
Okay. This is going to you're going to actually get where I'm coming from with this. Colorado has a supermajority in the Senate and in the House. So this morning I went through and I looked up some of the bills that are being pushed through the state legislature. And what I discovered is the bills, for example, Senate Bill 26-097. Let me read you what it is concerning decriminalizing commercial sexual activity among consenting adults. What it's basically going to do is decriminalize prostitution.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't say legalize. If they were going to legalize prostitution, they could then put restrictions and health pictures. They could do a lot with that. They could also tax it. They're not wanting to do that. They're wanting to just willy-nilly decriminalize
Well,
it.
not yet anyway.
Now, what makes this bill bad is it's sweeping. It is an all state encompassing bill. It is basically telling, for example, Houston, if Houston were leaning in a different direction, Houston could say, well, we don't want to decriminalize prostitution. We should be able to govern ourselves as our own city or our own suburb. This bill is designed so that it doesn't matter what city you're in. If you're in Grand Junction, Colorado, which is what, 300-400 miles away from us, right?
About 4 hours.
And
yeah.
Grand Junction says, well, we still think that prostitution should be illegal. Well, it ain't going to matter. If this bill gets passed and signed by Governor Polis, which, oh, by the way, it will, because he signs everything off that is Democrat driven, then it becomes decriminalized. Well, that means that all of those regulations and all of that decriminalization means that there's no control. There's no anything that can put any kind of a stamp on things. And what that does is hey, I'll tell you what, if I were a human trafficker, I'd be looking at Colorado real close, because I'd be able to use human trafficking, run it right through Colorado, because guess what? Colorado is decriminalizing commercial sexual activity.
Well,
Let's call it what it is. It's prostitution, right?
And don't forget that they also want to make it so that adults exposing themselves to children is not a felony.
Yeah. And well, that bill is on hold, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's one of them
Yeah.
that they're trying to get through also.
What I also discovered is that bills that seem to have more balance to them are sponsored by members of both parties. Every bill that is completely off the rails with a normal thinking individual is exclusively driven by the Democrats, because our state has a virtual supermajority in its legislation. There aren't very many balanced bills being pushed through. Now, there's a couple because they really want to see if they can make it look like they're normal. But the reality is they're not normal. Nellie, you're sideways again.
Yeah, I'm checking my phone.
Hey, Joel, this is fun. So that was just one bill.
So I have
Here's
a
another
question
bill.
on that, if you don't
Yeah, go ahead.
mind. What's
No,
the age of
absolutely.
what's the age of consent in Colorado?
16, correct?
For what?
For sex.
For sexual activity.
Oh,
If I'm not mistaken, it's 16. My super producer over here is gonna get us that age of consent and put it on my screen.
It's definitely 18, but it could be 16.
But 18 is everybody, because at 18 you're an adult.
Right.
The thing is that, and this is actually very scary, is that not sure that we should even be looking at.
In the state of Colorado, the legal age of consent is 17 years old.
17.
Once somebody turns 17, they can legally consent to sex. Age 15, special close-in age exceptions. Romeo and Juliet law. These protect teens close in age. Age 15, 16, legal if the partner is less than 10 years older.
Right.
Under 15, legal only if partner is less than 4 years older.
So basically that's saying that cartels and other ill-meaning individuals can use underage kids to traffic other underage girls or boys and have it fall under the Romeo and Juliet clause because they're close enough in age.
Right. Congratulations, Colorado. You have officially gone off of the rails of normalcy. I hope our state is satisfied, and I really hope that our state understands just how dangerous this is. Now, here's the sad part: because there's a supermajority in the legislature, and because the governor just also happens to be a Democrat, all of this stuff will get pushed through. Why? Because they don't have anybody standing in their way. If that makes any kind of sense, they don't have anybody standing in their way to push these bills through. And I've said this a few times, and nobody wants to hear this. Obama once said, elections have consequences. Now, this is not an indictment or an indictment for or against the president or former president of the United States. But what he was saying is very accurate. We have allowed our election system to become so completely one-sided that Republicans can stand on the floor when they have open floor, which they do, and they can bump their chest and bang the pulpit all they want. And at the end of the day, the Democrats, quite frankly, don't care. They have the numbers. It doesn't matter to them. Yeah, you could say all you want. And Coloradans are actually, I've talked to a lot of Coloradans, and they're like, this is not what we voted for. Well, no, it is what you voted for.
Yeah.
And for those of us who didn't vote for it, we feel like we're in an abyss where upside down is right side up, and the bloody sky is green, right?
And that's on purpose.
Well, here's something to think about: how little people know what's going on with the legislature. I asked the nurses who were strapping me down and whatever, getting ready to do for the doctor to do his thing.
So my mom was.
They had heard about the prostitution thing, and they had never heard of it.
So my mom was.
Didn't even know that was in the works.
Right, and that's another problem with our current system, is we have a group of people who vote but then don't stay engaged.
Yeah.
And that is something that is a problem nationwide. That isn't just a state Colorado thing. That is an everywhere thing.
I was going to say, I think that's a big thing. Everybody votes for the president for that form.
Right.
Okay.
The H Train's got a good point.
But they don't vote for the community,
the locals.
The locals.
Yep. And honestly, I don't know how Joel feels about this, and I don't know how y'all feel about this, but I'll tell you, the local governments are more important than the general. Look, man, the president is important. Nobody's saying he's not. But we're talking about day-to-day Coloradans or Texans or Houstonians, if you want to call yourself that. And that affects us boots on ground, right? The reality is, in D.C., they don't have boots on ground in Colorado. How the hell are they supposed to know what's going on? And sadly enough, when people in Colorado don't even know what's going on, here's another one. You want me to read this one? This is great. Concerning state court remedies for violations of federal constitutional rights occurring during immigration enforcement. That bill is being proposed to be able to sue ICE agents if a person believes that their constitutional rights have been violated during an immigration raid or whatever. Well, number one, if you're an illegal alien, you don't have constitutional rights. You barely have due process.
They're very clear when you start the process as a legal immigrant, you have limited rights as a resident alien.
Yeah, just keep going. In fact, repeat that,
And
because for those of you guys who don't realize this, Miss Candace is a Canadian citizen, eh?
well, I am, but I'm an Albertan. So there's not a liberal bone in my body, I have to say. So when you start the process, it's very arduous and it's a little intimidating, but it's actually not that hard.
Right.
It is actually not that expensive.
Right.
But you actually have to make sure that you dot all your I's and cross all your T's.
Right.
So I can understand if English is a second language, but that's the reality, that they actually have immigration forms in every language. Like when we initially started the process, we had to say, like, what is our first written and spoken language? So for me, I was like, they shouldn't even have this on the form. That's just where I'm at. If you can't speak and write English in the country, and I understand a lot of people have come and, made the effort to learn. Right.
We're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to come back on. No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad that you're on, but we're going to go to a break. It's there you go. There's my guy. Here we go.
Those are cool tats, man.
Oh, for real. Thank you, bro. You see the Cobra?
And what is this one?
Oh, this? That's my credo. No regrets.
You have no regrets?
Dad?
No.
Like not even a single letter?
No way. Not me.
Well, I love him. I think he's great.
Okay.
I think he's a real winner, Casey. If I were you, I wouldn't use protection.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
That's my credo.
That's my credo, man. No regrets.
It's awesome.
No, so back to what Candace is talking about, and I'm gonna show a little bit of compassion for some people that are here legally, because those are the people that I want to show compassion for. Miss Candace, when I start barking about illegal immigration and people tell me, well, you don't care about families, my response is actually, no, I do care about families. I care about families who believe that rules mean something and should be followed. That's who I care about.
Well, so here's the premise of all of this. If you do not support your laws, you're opening the door for utter chaos.
Yep.
And you cannot protect any individuals in chaos. It cannot
Correct.
be guaranteed or even literally attempted. So, I mean, I've had people come at me and tell me I have no feelings. And what the hell is wrong with me because I'm an immigrant? You bet I'm an immigrant. I
But
dotted
you,
all my I's. I crossed all my
right.
T's.
You,
I
you
have
follow
done
the
the
rules.
proper procedure, and I have yet to vote because I'm not at that stage yet.
Right.
Right.
Right. You have not
But-
yet been naturalized. And the thing is that we've barked that order, the argument. And look, I want Americans who want to be proud to be Americans. The sad part about that, however, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, is we have people who have sworn an oath to protect and preserve our Constitution that are immigrants that came in and followed the rules. Well, okay, sort of followed the rules. I don't know that Omar actually followed any rule. And they
and then
don't
change
like our
them
country,
to
they
suit
don't
their
love our
purposes.
country. And they are basically here weakening the nation, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're weakening the nation, and they're doing it illegally, which is what really kind of blows, is that they're doing it illegally. Here's another one. Speaking of voting, here's another one. Both of the sponsors for this bill here are Democrats, concerning the authorization of electronic ballot returns in local elections. So it's not good enough to have electronic voting in the state and the federal election. It's also now they want to push this. Here's the thing. I'm watching Joel over there working the board, and it dawns on me that he's utilizing computers and he's utilizing the power of computers, and he can manipulate anything he wants on our show. Literally, he can manipulate anything. He could make me look like a clown if he wanted to do it, and there's nothing I could do to stop him. Well, if you look at that technology, it ain't that far to say a Dominion machine can't also be manipulated to change a vote on the fly, which, oh, by the way, investigators have proven that it's done it.
Yeah.
And now you want to make this for local votes too? I would say let's go back to the paper with a simple scan vote, a simple scan count. Though I don't know, Joel, did you ever take any kind of a test in the military?
Yeah, PT test.
Okay. Okay. So you didn't have to read questions on a.
Well, yeah, kind of. Back when I was in it, was kind of like corresponding.
Okay.
Courses.
So you remember? Well, I don't know. The Navy had what's called a Scantron type when we took an advancement exam. You would have to put in your little blocks, and then the machine would scan it, and its only job was to read A, B, C, or D.
We had to take that test before Iraq, and then when we came back from Iraq.
So why can't we have that kind of a voting counting system for ballots? Because that's what it should be. It shouldn't have to. You should not be able to input anything into a computer other than A, B, C, or D, with no ability to switch it back and forth. Because at least then you know that it's a physical transfer of data, raw data, which is all ballot counting is supposed to be, is raw data. I either voted A for this guy, B for this guy, C for this guy, or D for this guy. I either voted yes for this measure or no for this measure. So how in the hell can we trust a system that we know is manipulatable?
Well, here's my.
I just made up a word, I think.
Here's my question.
Works for me.
Why are we so worried about for just first question? Why are we so worried about the voting stance? Okay, that's the first worry. Okay, we're worried about it for like cheating and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Hey, we got Ellen back.
Nelly.
Yeah.
Nelly, sorry, Nelly. You're
And
sideways, but you were right first time around.
second of all is, before we go to finding a solution to the voting issue, we need to find out how are they cheating.
Right.
That's how. And once we find out how they cheated, then we need to solve that. Because this is the issue: is we're overcomplicating it.
I agree.
And there's people like you have mentioned already. There's people that don't vote as it is unless
Right.
it's the presidential one.
Right.
So, And I think that a lot of people don't vote just because, and I mean, anybody that knows like iPhone and Android,
Yep.
why does Android not like iPhone? Why does iPhone not like Android?
Well, it's 'cause
because
they don't
people
speak the
have
same language.
Well, people don't know how to navigate.
Right. Well, I do.
Okay?
I mean,
Right.
I'm
we
kind
do
of
because we know how to vote, but
Right.
there's some people
Right.
that have never voted
so
that just need the navigation.
So let me see if I can answer a couple of those questions
can I
for
say
you.
something?
And actually, I'm going to let Dennis, and then I'm going to throw my 2 cents in, and then I'm going to let my mom, because my mom has been sitting there quietly for a while. I want her to weigh in.
Well, let me just say this about the voting system and how these amendments and laws are proposed. First of all, I think a lot of people get intimidated because they can't read a majority of what was written because it's in legal terms. It makes it very complicated, very confusing for the average person who maybe, I mean, a lot of people barely got through high school. Maybe they got a couple of years of college after that, but I mean, who can read lawyer speak? I mean, I don't
But
know.
that's the thing. Lawyers don't want you to read it.
Right.
They make it intentionally difficult so the average person, and I've met some brilliant people that you put a legal document in front of them and they're like, what the hell does this mean?
It's kind of on purpose.
Right. So my mom, go ahead, Mom.
Well, he brought up the point of how did they know, or how did they cheat with the voting machines, the Dominion. It's the software inside the Dominion machines that can be manipulated from outside because it's all electronically tied into actually Venezuela, by the way.
Yep.
Is where the software came from, and the Dominion voting machines came from. And we were the test state. Aren't we lucky?
Yeah. So here's Mark's position on it. I'm going to go to the election of 2020 because it stands out as there were a string of anomalies that night that at the age of then, God, man, that was like, I was what, 50? Oh, I'm 50. I'll be 58 in June. So I was what, 53, 54. And at the age of 54, I'm watching as the counting of the ballots all got stopped at midnight in every state that the numbers switched. And the numbers did switch. There were 3 states particularly, Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. Those 3 states particularly, I'm talking about Donald Trump, that night had a 98% success rate. That means that they had basically locked him in when those ballots stopped being counted at midnight in those states. So time zones be taken into consideration. Every single state, he was up large enough to have a 98% probability for success.
Yeah.
At 4:00 in the morning, when the votes when the counting was restarted, the numbers didn't just shift, they shifted overwhelmingly one direction.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not telling anybody anything other than the fact that if you're not deaf, dumb, and blind, none of that made sense. And for the longest time, I said, I'm not going to come right out and say that election was dirty, but I want you to make it make sense to me like I'm a 3-year-old. The problem was it wasn't that they couldn't, it's that they refused to. Mm-hmm. That side of the fence refused to even acknowledge it. Yep. So that's when I started basically coming out and making the statement of no, it was dirty. It was stolen. It was a mess. And you don't have, I've also said this, you don't have to agree with me. I don't care whether you agree with me, but you better be willing to objectively look at it and say, you know what, you're right. I'm 50. I was 54 at the time. My mom was I'm not going to give everybody her age, but the point is that as long as she's been alive and has been cognizant of elections, she had never seen a voting count stopped in the middle of the night. Stopped.
Yep.
Hey, we're going to close the ballots for about 4 or 5 hours. Why in the hell would you do that?
Yeah.
It's a long dinner break.
Now, here's the $1 million question. If Trump had won the election and they had stopped that same scenario, only it was Trump that had won the election, the left is going to blow up screaming, this is dirty.
Oh, their heads would have exploded.
This is dirty. And I would have said objectively, because I do look at this from an objective point of view, you're right, because there is nowhere in God's green earth that you should stop counting because, everybody's tired. You know what? Too bad. You volunteered.
Yeah.
In the military, we call it choose your rate, choose your fate. You volunteered to be a counter, suck it up, because this is our federal election. If that had happened locally, I'd have been just as pissed off as I was. I wasn't pissed at the result. I was disappointed I was pissed at the way the result came to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And this is the end result of that. Let's bring it back to the state level. Here's another bill that is on the docket in the state of Colorado that is exclusively democratically driven. House sponsorship, state sponsorship for this bill is Democrat only. Concerning the conduct of law enforcement and in connection therewith prohibiting peace officers from concealing their identities, clarifying state criminal law jurisdiction over federal officers, requiring training on immigration laws, and expanding the conduct by which a person commits impersonating a peace officer. Here's $1 million question for you. Have you ever heard of the term doxing?
Yeah.
Anybody here heard of the term doxing? What does that basically mean? For the tech-savvy people or the non-tech-savvy people, it basically means that they take a picture of your face and they figure out who you are from that picture using obscene technologies. They find out where you live, now your family is in jeopardy.
Yep, your whole family. Yep.
Have you ever noticed that a lot of the protesters on the other side are constantly wearing masks? Antifa.
Yep.
Constantly wearing masks. Why are you wearing a mask? Conceal your identity.
Well, hell, ICE is wearing masks too.
ICE is what? But what's the difference?
We're not
Antifa is
doxing
out
them.
there literally perpetrating acts of violence on people that are innocent bystanders. I can't tell you how many videos I've watched in Portland, Oregon, of obscene acts of violence on people who weren't even involved. And the people that are perpetrating those acts of obscene acts of violence are all wearing masks.
Well, they were doing that to Nick Shirley.
And they also did it to a guy named Andy No, put him in a coma. He almost died in a Portland hospital. The difference is ICE, whether you want to like it, and I don't like all the things that ICE has done. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that they haven't in one way or another acted outside of their purview, but they are actually trying to enforce laws that have been on the books since 1996.
Federal laws.
That would be Bill Clinton, the president of the United States. And here's the other side of that fence. They wouldn't have to do that if technology hadn't been abused to dox those men from doing their jobs.
Right.
That is a reality, folks. That isn't something that I'm making up. Don't have to like it, but that's just the truth. Because you know how many, you want to know how many protests that were violent from 96 until recent? Not many. We've had George W. Bush enforcing immigration laws. Obama deported more under his administration than Trump did in both of Trump's presidencies. How many protests did you see out on the streets?
3 million people reported, 0 protests.
The reason isn't because what they were doing is outside of their purview. The reason is because our current government is pushing that they are Nazis, that they are fascists, that they are this, that they are that. Never mind the fact that they're not lining people up and shooting them on the streets. That would be the Nazi government that did that.
So
ahead.
not to change the subject or anything, but I don't know if you know this, Mark, but there's a proposed law here in Colorado that we're getting ready to vote on, and it is proposed law SB 26-097 is to decriminalize adult commercial sexual activity amongst consulting adults.
That was actually the first one we talked about,
Yeah.
Joel. That was the first one we hit. The whole point that I'm trying to make here for people that are paying attention, if you have no balance of government, if you don't have enough people to stand up on a floor and say, we're not going to vote for this,
Yeah.
guess what happens? It gets voted in, and there's no way you can control that. None. You can't. Who voted for Trump? Great question. No, Vegas has legalized prostitution in some areas, James, not all areas, in some areas. In other areas, Vegas does not have legalized prostitution. That would be actually the state of Nevada. So it is an area.
Sherry's Ranch. I know it.
Right. It's the Mustang Ranch and it's Sherry's Ranch. But who voted for Trump? Well, I don't know. A lot of people voted for Trump. And the numbers do bear it out. You don't have to agree with me. You don't even have to believe me. In fact, I tell people, don't believe a damn word that I've said. Do your own
Look it
research.
up.
But how many people actually believe that 80 million people voted for Joe Biden?
No. It was 81.
Oh, 81 million. Excuse me.
It's
my
81.
numbers are skewed a little. Sorry.
Hey, Mom, did 81 million people vote for Biden?
Oh no, they voted for an auto pin.
Oh, the auto pen. Yeah, that's right. That's actually his first name, I think, isn't it? Auto pen Joe.
Here's another one. Exclusively Democrat driven. Concerning the regulation of firearm barrel transfers and in connection therewith creating a criminal penalty for the unlawful sale of a firearm barrel. Okay, do you people understand? Every one of you who are watching this show, do you understand? This is a direct violation of the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights. That is their way of getting around the Second Amendment. Hey, we can't regulate and we can't control the fact that people can buy guns. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it damn near impossible for components of guns to be bought. The last time I checked, the Second Amendment doesn't differentiate between a barrel, a trigger, a hammer, a magazine. In fact, Joel, you can look this one up if you want. Cannons are legal to be held by American citizens.
I want one.
Cannon.
Oh, I'm not a citizen yet. Working on it.
Get there, and you'll be allowed to.
Mark.
Yeah.
I posted this 4 days ago.
Yeah, I saw
the Rocky Mountain gun owners. They actually, one of their representatives got kicked out of the house out of the building because he was wearing a lapel pin that representing the Second Amendment.
Yeah. So it's not enough.
So that means I can go and put a turret on the top of my vehicle, put a cannon.
By good, you could. Hey, doesn't that just make the infinite amount of possibilities for people like you and me? Like,
yeah, that's not going to cause any problems. That's obvious.
I'm not saying that it will. I'm just saying it's legal, and it is protected by the Second Amendment. This side of that side of the fence, and look, I'm going to be as honest as I can. This does translate to the national scene.
Yeah.
If they can get away with it on a local and or state level, they will try to push it to the federal level. And if they, and I do mean they, and you people know exactly who I'm talking about, if they gain full-on control, we can say goodbye to our federal constitutional republic. We are not a democracy. Quit calling it that. We're not.
Thank you.
We're
I've
not a
had
democracy.
so many people
anymore.
say that to me, and it's like, I'm from Canada, and I know you're a constitutional republic.
And
It's not the same.
Here's the sad part. This is where I get to have more fun than Barrel of Monkeys. Donald Trump throws the terminology democracy around like just like everybody else. He is no more or no less different than anybody else who does that. And I say the same thing to him. Make sure you understand what you're talking about is not what we are. We never were one. There is the word democracy is nowhere in the United States Constitution nor the Bill of Rights.
Right.
So quit embarrassing yourselves. We're not a democracy.
The inherent difference, because I was a political sciences major, is the U.S. is based on individual rights and freedoms.
Correct.
A democracy is based on a collective society's rights and freedoms.
Correct. And the challenge
And
that
people
we have,
don't get it. The difference.
the challenge we have is how dangerous a democracy can become, because once again, it goes back to political parties.
Yep,
If
look
a
at Canada.
political party gains any kind of control that is significant, they will. And I'm not saying that the Republicans haven't done this in the past. They probably have. They just seem to be more inclined to be a collaborative, a governance in good faith than the Democrat Party does. The Democrat Party, the minute they gain any kind of a strong foothold, they abuse that ad nauseum. I just went through 4 bills that are all Democrat driven and are all out of control. All right, we have another break coming up.
We'll be right back.
It's the feel good. It's the feel good one, Joel. with Philip Seymour Hoffman, right?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Who sharted? It's in there. There you go. All right.
What happened to you? But Ruben, I'm in a situation here. We have to leave now. Well, no, can we stay a couple more minutes? But dude, no, this is serious. I just sharted. I don't know what that means. I tried to fart and a little shit came out. I just sharted. All right, now let's go.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
We're going to get Nellie over here. Nellie is back on, and I'm sure Nellie has been listening and has been desperate to get into this. But I think what I've tried to prove is on a local basis, we're struggling. I mean, I can tell you if I could move out of this state right now, I would move out. And that really is really kind of depressing, because I'm a firm believer you have to kick me out of my state. This is my home. You're not kicking me out of my backyard. I'm not allowing it.
Speaking of that, Candace, you're making some room for me down there, right?
Absolutely, honey. Absolutely.
Awesome. You rock.
But I mean, I've got some brothers in arms that are leaving the state. They're moving from Colorado. I mean, I think one of them is going to Tennessee. And the reason is because of how out of control. And now, okay, I know that we can't see Nellie, but Nellie, you've been listening in. Would you like to chime in?
Well, I'm more of a I want to move, but not because of the politics. I'm in Texas. I just want to move because of the weather and stuff. But I do believe in fighting for, wherever you want to be. I think more people that are conservative need to get out and do more. I think that's part of our problem. We don't get out. They do a good job of canvassing and doing all kinds of things. We had subvert come up not too long ago, and it that's the problem. Nobody went out and voted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now
They vote for the presidency, and that's a big problem.
right, because they think that when they think that you win the White House, that you're supposed to rest on your laurels. Well, here's the sad reality of that. When you win a federal election, the work just begins. It does not end at that point. I've also said that. I've also said that as a nation, we have an obligation to be actively involved. And look, I call this, this is very much a current event show, but politics are a part of current events. And that isn't That's
Yeah.
just reality.
But there's a lot of history behind it. Too.
There is. And I try to throw a lot of history into this. I try to make sure people understand I'm not speaking simply in the current day. I'm actually trying to get people to understand this is historically important.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's historically important, go ahead, Mom.
It's always been a problem that they vote for the federal election, but they don't vote on the local level.
Right.
And
we were
you're
talking.
kidding yourself. People are kidding themselves if you think that everybody votes in the federal elections, because they don't either.
No, I'm not
There's
saying
a lot
that.
of people just don't vote.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the people on the right, when a candidate that they wanted to be elected is elected, they tend to rest on their laurels, not push forward. I'm a firm believer that once you've gained any kind of a foothold, you keep moving forward, because that's how you progress what you're trying to do. The problem is, and look, we're about to have redistricting in this state, which I don't understand. This state seems to, at least on a legislative basis, be fairly balanced. I mean, it's not because of the blue corridor through the middle, but Virginia is about to go from what, a 6-4 to a 10-1 districting. Okay, the only way you can beat that districting is if you have enough people that are conservative roll into those ballots and vote for the people that they want to vote for, which is counter to what the districting is going to do. I am a firm believer that districting is stupid. The red-blue districting is idiotic. Why do you need to do that? You need to. I don't understand that part of the element.
You know, Virginia is going to become the next Minnesota, right?
Well, yeah, New York's already halfway there.
New York's on their way.
Well, New York has been blue forever, and California. But look at how California voted. They voted for redistricting, and they were told how dangerous that is. But here's the newsflash: people were told how dangerous Zoran Mamdani was going to be for the state of California. Literally, we, outside of the state of New York and outside of the city of New York City, screamed this is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a newsflash: it turned out to be a really bad idea.
Right, guess what? You got what you voted for.
And not all New Yorkers voted for that. In fact, a lot of New Yorkers didn't vote for that. Here's the sad part about that: the ones who didn't vote for it are now making a bunch of noise. Well, you kind of didn't make enough noise to begin with.
Well, this is the problem that I'm saying. It's not necessarily just about going out and voting, but I mean,
all of it.
at the end of the day, it is. But there's nobody going out there and getting them to rally up and saying, "Come on, let's get excited. Let's vote. Let's vote. Let's vote."
Right.
We just assume everybody's going to be all excited because we're excited, but that's not reality.
Right. And here's the thing: I tend to be an idealist, because I tend to believe that, as you get older, you should be far more patriotic, and you should consider voting as a patriotic obligation.
Yep.
That's what I believe. I am not 100% sure how right I am about that.
I agree 100%.
I think politics.
I think it's a privilege and an obligation.
It's a privilege, but it's also your right, and it should be an obligation as well.
Well, I think
kind of
that
all
people,
three.
as they get older and they start, just in life general, you start paying taxes, you start doing this and that, and the older you get, you start to look at reality. It was kind of interesting. My dad, I asked him who he voted for when Obama was running, and he said, "Well, Obama," and I said, "Well, congratulations, you just spent your son's money."
Right.
That you put into Social Security. And then he thought about it for a minute, and he said, "Oh, you're right." And he said, "Well, I'm not going to vote for him again." But,
which is sad, because but that, Nellie, that's one of the things. Now we are going to an appointment, my wife and I, about our taxes. Here's the sad part about the tax situation, and I'm not going to get into the tariff thing, because I'm going to be quite honest with you. I already went through the tariffs, and I already even went to where the money goes from tariffs. Goes to the exact same place that your income taxes go. How about that? The pool of money goes into what's otherwise known as the general funds. All right. So we're not going to get into that. But what I will say is this. I find it funny that our government requires us to pay taxes so that they can conduct business on our behalf. Okay, I consider that an investment. Am I wrong? Is a tax not technically an investment to operate our government, be it local, be it state, be it federal?
If it's used properly, yes.
So what I look at from that point of view is, where's the return on my investment? Where are my better roads? In Colorado, they don't exist. Our roads are dog doo-doo. How about our property taxes? If they're based on the value of our homes, who's dictating that? Newsflash, a bunch of people we didn't elect doing things that we don't want and representing things that we're not okay with. But because our government and our officials have appointed these people, it's basically like you're gonna laugh at this one. It's Pontius Pilate washing his hands concerning the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. The elected officials go, hey, I don't have to be responsible because I just appointed this guy Joe Blow to create a value structure for our homes. Meanwhile, we're paying taxes on stuff that we already bought. Cars, houses.
Yep.
We're paying taxes on things that we purchase, and they're taxing our income coming and going.
Yep.
Now, I'm trying to understand how that is representative in any way, shape, or form. Because once again, explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. And here's what they'll tell you. This is what they tell you. It's complicated. Well, let me uncomplicate it for people. It's not complicated. You keep asking for more money so that you can run and operate our government. And then you run and operate our government poorly.
Yep.
And the only way you seem to think that you can correct this is by asking us for more money. And it isn't even that they're asking for more money. They demand it.
Yeah.
You know what? You're going to have to get a second job in
Colorado's budgets.
Dog.
We already need
Walking your
jobs.
dog tax.
Hey, I hate to tell you this. We already need second jobs in the state of Colorado just to get by, damn near.
Yep.
Well, Polis has managed to, the budget is in such bad shape that they're scrambling now, trying to figure out what to do.
Elections have consequences.
They
Gee, what a big surprise that is.
Well, I'm a
Imagine
big
that.
proponent, and I was in Canada, that if politicians run a deficit, they should be held liable for those funds.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, that would be a good idea.
Unfortunately, that requires legislation. And the last time,
And that requires them voting on it.
right, and that therein lies one of the flaws of a representative-based government, folks. Because if they don't have a skin, I always say you don't have a dog in the fight, or if the dog in the fight is like tilted in your favor, there's no legislative representative that is ever going to vote to penalize themselves for mismanagement of our money.
I was going to say there's no loop around the system. There's no loop around the system because we just had a president go from 10 to 15% tariffs, and all that money that's been collected, that's in limbo now. They don't even know that's going to happen.
I was listening to a radio show, and they're working on it right now, but at least it's sitting, it's not being given back, which is good. And yeah, it's going to be in limbo for a little while, and that's perfectly fine as long as it goes to where it needs to go. And I will be honest with you guys. I know enough about the tariffs, and I know enough about the taxes that the taxes basically replaced tariffs from way back. And if people would stop and understand the history of all this, the reason that the United States went easy on other nations and trade and trade tariffs was because the entire world has just survived a world war, and 90% of the population was struggling just to survive, let alone thrive. Well, our government, being altruistic and trying to do the right thing, did the right thing. They said, hey, we're going to ease off on this so you can get back on your feet. The only problem is typical of not seeing the big picture, but you hyper focus on something. They didn't go, well, maybe we should put a
Term limit?
limit. Not
A term
yeah,
limit.
term limit for one thing. But what I'm saying is we should put a limit as to how long. We should put a time limit as to how long we're going to do this, and then we are going to expect you to come back to the trading negotiating table and actually do the work so that we can negotiate a trade setup that is equally fair for both the companies that are conducting businesses and all of our government and each group of peoples. Well, that didn't happen. They never went back and they never took another look at it. Well, if you don't take another look at it, then nothing is going to change, because one side is going, hey, we're not able to get fat, dumb, and happy, and we're going to do it on the backs of America.
Isn't it funny? 250 years ago, we poured tea into the sea because of a 2% tax, and now we're talking about 15%,
Right.
and nobody says anything.
No, but people do. And Joel, here's where you're right and where you're wrong. People are saying things. I have said this. My mom has said this. Obviously, I'm looking at Candace is going, I'm going to be an American citizen. I'm already saying that I'm not a citizen. Dennis damn sure has complained about it, and you've complained about it. The thing is that the people that are supposed to be representing us as a nation, I'm telling you right now, they are not interested in what we have to say. Joel and I have said this, and we've talked about this. What we need to do as an American people, it doesn't matter whether you're independent, unaffiliated, Republican, or Democrat, or how you have voted in the past. Stop looking at yourself as a Democrat, independent, Republican, unaffiliated, and start looking at yourself as, okay, I'm going to get on a bully pulpit here because now I'm getting hot.
Here comes the soapbox.
Here we go. Stop looking at yourself like you are a Democrat. Stop looking at yourself like you're a Republican. Stop looking at yourself like you're an independent or unaffiliated, and start looking at yourself like you're an American citizen, because the people in D.C. and by extension the states and the cities have no interest in what you're complaining about and what you're concerned about. I have a daughter in South Africa, and trust me, I'm concerned every day for what is going on with her life. I have an autistic son who I am concerned about every single day. And I'm sorry that people don't want to hear this crap, but every time these people make bad decisions, it's going to adversely affect those kids, your kids, your grandkids, my good friend Joel's grandkids. This is who you're going to affect. You're going to affect me. I'm 57, 58. I could drop dead on the way back home.
I hope not. They're supposed to be bringing you some dog food.
I'm supposed to do grocery shopping. If I do drop dead, I'll just apologize right now. But the point I'm making is we get so wrapped up as to whether or not we're Democrat or Republican, whether we're left or whether we're right. Hey, I'll tell you what. The communists love this. Socialists loves this.
China, from what I can understand, has been pushing very delicately for a long time to bring around this division that we now have, because the division between the parties was not this bad until, so I think probably it's started really showing up bad about the time Obama got in.
So that's
China has been infiltrating and started using us against ourselves by starting the race crap again.
Right. And everybody that hates us basically is.
Yeah, I must be a real
they're
racist
dancing in the
because I think
streets.
I'm American.
You can put Russia in that circle too.
They're dancing in the streets. And look, here's the sad. This isn't sad. I'm actually proud of the fact that yes, we can drive down the street and we can see a bunch of protesters screaming "No Kings." Meanwhile, the death toll in Iran, folks, is in excess of 30,000 people since they started protesting for their freedoms in early January. 30,000 people. And I continue to hear moron after moron after moron talk about Gaza, Palestine, and Hamas. Newsflash. 30,000 Iranians have been shot without recourse.
young and
And
old.
nobody with the right state of mind has said a word about it except people like me and Dennis and my mom. And it is ridiculous. If you're going to scream about oppression, then scream about oppression, but make damn good and sure that you're not being a hypocrite about it and you're going to scream oppression across the board. Because I'm sorry, you fall on deaf ears when you talk to someone like me, because I'm looking over going, you know what? I drove by, and I don't know whether Joel lives in the area, but if you drive up Parker Road, there is a little Middle Eastern market. And it's right on the right-hand side, and there are 3 flags that are being flown in front of that building. They're all flags of Iran, not the Islamic Republic of Iran, but Iran with the lion and the swords, which is what I think the rest of the world would be ecstatic that we had.
Well, I can tell you for a fact, dude, that this military buildup over there, it's not for nuclear talks. This is for regime change.
And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I agree with direct engagement for regime change. I hope that the people up there realize. I hope that the people in Iran realize that soldiers have to. You got to reload.
Yep.
You have the numbers. They have to reload.
Yep. I think
you have the numbers. They have to reload.
They're getting it.
Period. All right. We kind of went on a couple of little tangents, which if anybody has seen this show knows that I like to do that kind of stuff. No, because there's 100 different things to talk about right now. Next week, however, we are going to put a lot of time and a lot of effort into the SAVE Act. I'll give people a hint. Women who are married do not get to change their names on their birth certificates. If a Democrat is telling you that that is the way they're going to suppress women votes, stop listening to these people. They are doing this intentionally.
Can somebody stop my eyes from rolling in the back of my head, please?
Only if you can stop mine. Mine were already like spinning, like waiting for the 7s to come up.
Right. Ding, ding, ding,
And
ding.
if you were adopted, you go by the papers that you got for the adoption. You don't have to go back and find your birth parent and put on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
Joel,
ridiculous.
All bullshit.
did you change your name on your marriage certificate? You know you can. Dudes can change their names too, folks. That's not against the law.
I don't even know where my marriage certificate is. There's somewhere.
No, that we're going to get into the SAVE Act because I believe that
I've been single. My
is
Paul died 20 years ago, so it's been a while.
All right, guys. That is our show for the day. I want
Thanks
to
for having me.
Thanks for coming on, you guys. Thank
Anytime,
you.
Candace.
Look,
If you look on Facebook, I'm on Facebook.
I'm
do,
not.
please. Yeah.
I am not on Facebook.
Nelly.
I always have
Nelly,
something to say, so
you'll get the technical difficulties squared away for Nelly. Candace, you are invited back, my Canadian friend. I
Thank
know
you.
Alberta, but you're invited back.
Soon to be your American friend.
Dennis, same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat shit.
Mom, I will see you in a bit if I am not dead. Wait. I won't be dead.
I'm going to have a question for somebody here on this thing because I don't know why I'm on my phone, but not my computer like I was the last time. I went to my computer and it gave me the old address.
That is weird. We will get that squared away. I
Yeah,
promise you we'll
yeah,
get that squared away.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it squared away. I promise you that. Okay, Nell? All right, you want to close it? Yeah, let's close it.
All right.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Thanks for watching and listening to Military Broadcast Radio on Roku TV. If you missed today's episode, the podcast will be available on
and all major platforms shortly after we go off the air. We're here for you, not for us, giving veterans a voice. This is Military Broadcast Radio.